Hi, everybody. Mike.
Yes.
So, hey.
Welcome to On the Stick Primetime. Joe Drilling plays Chrono Trigger.
That's right.
This is part
Did you know
2.
that Joe Drilling has never played Chrono Trigger before?
I didn't know that.
This is episode 2. We already talked about this in episode 1.
We talked about this. This has been covered. It's trodden
Yeah,
ground.
but you have to have a last time on this thing.
No, we don't.
All right, hold on a second. I'm Eric Stephen Allen. I am Joe Drilling's Sherpa for this Chrono Trigger playthrough. Joe, say hi to everybody so they know what you sound like.
Hi, everybody. I'm Joe Drilling, and I'm playing Chrono Trigger.
Hey, we also have some
I'm about to get attacked by nuns.
ride-alongs,
irregular guests.
some guys riding shotgun hanging out with us tonight because we tried to do this once before and recorded a bunch of footage that was unusable. So, having very little to say about it, we decided to recruit some of our buddies to come hang out. So we have Mike Ailes is here.
I'm Joe Drilling's minor league mascot.
It's true.
And Anthony Rogers is also here.
I'm the guy that runs
Unfortunately.
and wipes the sweat off the floor when Joe takes a timeout.
Yeah, you don't want to slip and fall and hurt your Chrono Trigger.
Yeah.
True.
So, be
causes-
nice to those sexy snake ladies, Joe. Come on.
Who's being
Just wanna
nice?
Hug.
Yeah.
No, man. They don't.
I
They,
think we established how Dre feels about, ladies and snake ladies in particular.
Not
yeah, snake
It's ain't
snake
shit.
bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks.
But yeah, so I think this episode is going to take us through the end of this dungeon, and then
That's the idea,
yeah, and then we'll be all caught.
A lot of episodes.
Probably, yeah.
Are you
Well-
ever gonna have guests again, or is this our only shot?
This
Maybe
is-
we'll
I've already
have
been on
guests
2
again.
episodes.
Let's hope that this is your only shot.
So, Anthony, have you
Oh,
played?
crap.
Have you played through all of Chrono Trigger before?
Oh yeah, many times.
Okay,
Many a time.
because I believe that I traded you my copy of the DS Chrono
Wow.
Trigger for Dragon Warrior or something or other.
Oh
was a
wow,
bad
that
trade.
you? That was a
I
long
think so.
time ago.
That was a long time ago. That was before
Well-
we were buddies.
You'll be happy to know that
Uh-huh.
my wife's first time playing Chrono Trigger was playing that DS copy.
Nice.
So, you did it.
It's not. I mean, the DS version is a pretty darn good port of Chrono Trigger.
It's almost perfect.
Yeah,
Except that they changed Specchio's dialogue on the mountain.
yeah. There's a few like dialogue changes.
Like the one
So
thing I
we're
can't
we're
forgive
naming
him
the
for.
frog now.
Yeah. Well, let's see. We're naming our characters after hip hop stars from the
Yes.
90s. So, what is there an animal that rhymes with frog that maybe there's a famous rapper who's named after that animal, so that way we could make dumb jokes about things?
I could look it up, but I might have to do some snooping around.
Snoop Frog.
I don't get it.
Frog.
No, of course you don't.
I can't sing, but you get
So
the.
that was pretty good, actually. I'm very happy that just happened.
Joe's gonna play the organ to.
Kidnapping was the rap that they
Accompany
gave
you.
him.
That's right.
So you played Chrono Trigger multiple times, Anthony. So it must be you think it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's one of the best games ever.
Nice.
And probably
asked
one of
me,
the
but I
few JRPGs I can stomach these days.
Yeah.
It certainly is really good about not wasting your time compared to
it's-
most of the games in the genre.
Yeah.
It's really fast.
Tightly paced, not a lot of crappy filler dungeons or anything.
No, all the dungeons are really good in Chrono Trigger, and they're all different. You don't spend a lot of time going back and forth like through areas that you've already been in, which is another thing that
A lot of RPGs do badly.
a lot of RPGs make you do that a lot, which
And
is
I remember.
understandable because it's hard to come up with original backdrops and settings for 60 hours worth of game, but like
That's
that's
why they shouldn't be 60 hours long.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean,
I
this
was-
game you can do it in under 30.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I'd say like 25-ish.
yeah. And that's with
And
all the
that's
side
with all the
quests.
stuff too. Yeah.
And all the side quests are good. Like,
They are good.
We shouldn't spoil any of them for Joe who hasn't been there yet, but they're all cool stuff related to the characters.
Yeah,
stuff you want,
exactly.
The stuff you want to do.
There's an understanding that while you get like sweet ass equipment, the real reward is like, oh, I learned more about this, or I tied up this loose end, or had this interesting like side story about this character, which is rad.
Absolutely. So you can hear. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I remember like when this game came out, everyone kind of thought this is how RPGs were gonna go. Like
Joe and I talked about this in the first episode.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. No, it's all right.
Like just like everything from like the enemies appear on screen that we just assumed was gonna be the like standard from there. Like, man, I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, and you don't have to go to an abstract, weird battlefield that has no connection whatsoever to the world in which you're standing anymore. And yeah. And then Final Fantasy VII came out, and it was the worst example of crazy dissonance between what the characters look like in cutscenes and what they look like in the overworld and what they look like in the battle screens and what they look like.
It's almost admirable.
And pretty much
just how crazy that dissonance is.
And pretty much everyone wanted to follow suit on that. So
maybe because it made ungodly amounts of money.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, the fact of the matter is that Chrono Trigger is a really good game made by people who are really good at what they're doing, and it's hard to make a game that's good.
True.
Which is why most people don't do it.
They're trying, but they just can't pull it off.
It's much easier to just say, oh, let's take the basic formula from 1987 and, slap a couple more polygons on it.
Yeah. Or I think a lot of times, like, the big problem I have with a lot of modern RPGs is the battle systems seem needlessly complex. Like, the thing that I like about Chrono Trigger is that instead of making you fight a lot of battles that don't mean anything, like, most of the battles seem fairly meaningful.
Well, they all have at least like a little story go along with them.
Right, like, there's not a lot of battles in each dungeon, and usually you're fighting different assortments of enemies. You very rarely you're fighting like two of the same dudes over and over and over again. And I feel like
even what Joe's doing right now is the first time you combine the gargoyles with the snake ladies.
Right, exactly. So you fought the snake ladies, you fought the gargoyles, and then you fight them together, and then it also kind of makes you creatively use your techs, since different techs have different areas of effect or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
So the enemy placement is meaningful, but within that framework, the game moves really, really quickly. Whereas I feel like I'm just trying to think of, what was that DS? I tried to play the demo of Bravely Default last year, and I couldn't get into it because it felt like that's like the total opposite of that, where there's all these crazy systems in the battle, like to try and make each individual battle interesting. They layered a bunch of complex systems on top of the battle system and then make you fight the same fights over and over again, but give you many options in which to fight that fight. And it just feels like work to me.
Yeah, I played that demo too, and it was... I just didn't care because I've played so many games with each with their own crazy systems. It's like I just don't want to learn. I don't want to reinvent the wheel again for something that's gonna end up feeling marginally the same when I think about it.
Right. It's not so much that I hate that I dislike the crazy system. It's that once you figure it out, you still have to do it 30 more times.
Yeah. Right.
Well, to be fair, in Bravely Default, you can just shut off encounters.
True. That's true. I don't know if that's reflected in the demo, but that was the most recent attempt. But there's a lot of RPGs that I feel that way about, especially in the PlayStation 2 era, was really bad. And then that also layered on how slow everything moved. And
yeah, that was the real issue, is all the loading times, and RPG bloat began in earnest in the PlayStation 2 era.
Remember trying to play Suikoden 3?
Oh God! Nope. You didn't play 5, did you?
I did play 5. 5 was faster than 3.
Yeah, but 5 had really, really long load times and a really high encounter rate.
True. Not as high as Skies of Arcadia. And the thing is, I like a lot of these games, but
yeah.
They just there was a threshold.
Got Joe Gargoyle.
I can't put up with this anymore, so it's time for me to move on. But instead of jumping on modern JRPG...
Well, hold on.
ahead.
like this game was the first one that made me think like if you're having less encounters and letting me breeze through them, why are you making me do that? And I think that was sort of the start of me moving away from the genre.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, again, this is a great example of it, but it's like, I don't know, like I start to not want to do it, and if the game or the designers recognize that, maybe they should not be making
Maybe they should find a solution to it.
If someone went back and remade Chrono Trigger exactly the same, but it was like Secret of Mana, I'd be all about that.
I don't know. I feel like the turn-based system in Chrono Trigger works really well.
Yeah, no, I'm
punchy.
not bashing it.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
No, it's fine. I didn't think that you were.
I remember
just
that
turn-based
people
in general.
really liked Chrono Cross when it came out, and then like over time they've sort of like soured on it. Is that like how does it compare?
Awful.
It's
People were
different.
super high on it when it came out, though.
It has
Chrono
this-
Cross has a few issues. The first issue that it has is that it has way too many characters, and rather than making them distinct characters, they decided to come with like a dialect generator, basically.
Oh God.
So like the same dialogue is applied to all the characters, but then they'll put like these weird suffixes.
There's a pink poodle thing that speaks with a French dialect.
Yeah, basically.
Makes it fucking impossible and an exercise in self-loathing to read all the stuff that the characters are saying. And also, they say way too much stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, you have this huge cast of characters who have basically no reason to be involved with you, and you have no attachment to any of them. There's like 40 characters in the game, and the dialogue is stupid. And then you have the second problem, which is that like as a sequel to Chrono Trigger, it does really shitty stuff where basically like it invalidates the adventures of your whole party in the first game, and it basically kills your characters off screen between this game and the sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a real downer.
It's a very serious game too. Like just the tone, the atmosphere of it was very different. The
It
battle
feels
system,
very much of its time.
yeah, the battle system is way more complex and not as much fun. I mean, it was actually kind of it's a really good example of, and I actually feel like to a certain extent the Chrono Cross battle system is fine. There's just too much of it.
Yeah.
But so like all of your different elemental spells are associated with a color, and if you can stack like the colors up, like there's this gauge. In the, I haven't played this game in a really long time, so I might be getting some of the details confused. But
It's
if
like
you
a
can
three-part gauge, and if you can do 3 of the same color in a row,
Right.
you fill the gauge, and then you can do like a summon, I guess.
it's the special attack or buffs the attack that you're trying to do. I think that's the part that I don't remember necessarily, but like that's actually like a fairly interesting thing. But again, when you have to do it 1,000 times, it just feels like it's unnecessarily impeding your progress rather than making me feel like I'm more invested in each individual battle,
Right.
which I feel like was the point.
Right.
But I mean, there was some good stuff in Chrono Cross. I'm just having a hard time remembering what any of it was right now.
The music was nice.
Yeah, the music was really good.
That's about it.
You can turn into a cat at some point.
Yeah, I guess
I don't even remember that.
Chrono Cross does not hold up compared to the Vagrant stories and the
No.
other sort of
Vagrant Story is-
extraordinary RPGs of that era.
Really? Vagrant Story? That's what you're going with?
Yeah, I think Vagrant Story is pretty.
I know a lot of people who
If-
like
if-
love the
if
shit
nothing
out of
else,
Vagrant Story.
Vagrant Story is completely unique and it deserves
Vagrant
a lot
Story is
of-
completely unplayable.
I disagree. If you're clever about how you craft your weapons, it's pretty easy. But you
Vagrant
have
Story,
to.
you need to read like 4 facts before you can play that
Yeah.
game properly.
Yeah, you need a little outside help. Actually, Vagrant Story reminds me a lot of Dark Souls in that fashion, where it's pretty enjoyable if you kind of know how the systems work, but the game does not do a good job of explaining to you how that stuff interacts within the game. So
It also suffers from that slowness of PS1 RPGs.
I have to say, watching Joe play this, like,
does it make you want to play it? Because it makes me want to play it.
It does, but also like playing when I play RPGs, I always like try to save my MP for the boss fight,
Oh,
and like so I'm watching Joe and I'm getting like antsy, like looking at how little MP he has, and I'm like,
Not
oh god,
twitchy.
he's gonna have to use an item. But then at the end of the game, I have like 1,000 items.
yeah. So
I'm the same way when I play Resident Evil
like,
games. So
these first couple of episodes are kind of fucked up in that Joe and I had these conversations the first 2 times that we did this. Where like my broad philosophy for Chrono Trigger is that like go ahead and use items and use MP in the regular battles because there's always a save point right before a boss.
Yeah.
So you can always use
eating up the forest creatures.
Right. You always get a shelter. You can always use a shelter and restore all of your hit points and magic points before you before you have to fight something really, really difficult. So there's kind of no point in holding back on that.
Right.
Especially in this game, like I said, which is pretty
Go big or go home, Joe.
I have been. I am.
That's Joe's philosophy.
That's right.
In life.
Yeah.
It's true.
All right, so
Speak of the devil, here's that save point.
when I was a kid, at some point my Super Nintendo like wasn't working. Mostly, like I think like the part where the power cable connects to the Super Nintendo was like flimsy.
The slide down those stairs.
Yeah,
I love Chrono's surprised expression.
Yeah, it's good.
It's great. Sorry, Dr. Trey's surprised.
So like, right. So like, if you accidentally hit a wire like while playing, like one of the back wires, or like,
if you jostle it, you lose the power.
Yeah, but sometimes you would only kind of lose the power. So like, the system would like not get enough, and it would just like make cartridges freak out. Most of the time, it would just like make like random pixels appear on the screen, and like you had to reset. But one time, I was playing this game and we went through the like time warp thing, and it's like, you know, shows the blue like spinny screen and plays that like time warp sound effect.
Then you have to do a jump to the right. It
like froze on that screen. Yeah, right. I was wondering how long you were going to be able to resist that joke. It like froze on that screen, but instead of like just freezing, like it just looped it like an animated GIF on the TV screen. But what was weird is like we left it on, and then like it started playing this weird music that I'd never heard before, and like my recollection is that music is not on the soundtrack, and I found a like hidden track in the game, and I'm pretty sure that's not actually accurate because I'm pretty sure people have like cracked open the ROM and like sucked out everything and thrown away the husk. But like, I have this like, I swore at the time like I'd played the game before and I'd never heard that music, and I wish I could like go back in time and hear what it was.
There are some pieces of music that were composed but not used in the game that they put into the DS version. So it might have just I don't know if somehow one.
But I don't know if that was on. Yeah, I don't know if that was on the cartridge or not though. I don't know.
It was probably just a
lot of times that stuff is that stuff. Like there's when people like crack open stuff and like dump the sprites and stuff, like you find sprites that were never used in the game but exist on the cartridge anyways. It's not that uncommon.
Like the slot machine in the original Metro.
Yes. I'm gonna assume that the programmers really wanted you to go through a time warp and then wiggle your power cord on the back of your Super Nintendo so that you could hear that secret track.
They had very thorough QA on this game.
Yeah.
It's not just
there are two songs that were on the Chrono Trigger OST that were not used in the game that are in the game's code.
There you go. Yeah, I heard one of those.
There's an extra battle theme and the Singing Mountain song.
It's like a Singing Mountain, yeah.
Which is not a very good song.
No, it's not.
It's not. There's a reason why that song
would make it
game.
Yeah.
I mean, I got 420 gold or whatever.
Yeah, you did.
So yeah, Joe, are you entertained so far?
I am. I was telling Eric this before. I am enjoying this because it's briskly paced. It's sort of a midway between a standard turn-based RPG and an action RPG as far as the combat goes.
Yeah, it's kind of turn-based, but you kind of feel like you're doing something in real time.
Especially when you play in active mode.
Right, with the active time battle and the no random encounters thing, that's really what sort of makes it feel that way to me.
Yeah.
These bats are fucking annoying, though. I do like that dude just slid down the banister, though. That was pretty great.
I feel like I'm falling behind you a little bit, Joe.
Yeah, I just saw him slide down the banister after you said, "Wait a
second." You guys are
spoil
about
it.
5 seconds behind me.
Okay.
What, like 3 to
That's
5
about right,
seconds
then.
behind me is what you should.
I'm just a little sensitive since we lost.
Yeah, after what
but
happened
it's still,
last time.
It's like it's running okay. Yeah. So if you can hear Mike, I think, clicking in the background playing some Super Metroid. And in the first episode of this, we teased that maybe we would talk a little bit about Super Metroid versus Symphony of the Night, which, I mean, I think Joe's like getting ready to wrap up this dungeon, but I think we can do that a little bit if you want.
Sure.
Well, say, since we just talked about PlayStation.
Yeah.
Super Metroid is a much tighter game than Symphony of the Night. That's why I think it's better. Symphony of the Night is more sprawling and has...
It is, but there's so many great bosses in Symphony of the Night.
I mean, I guess there aren't that many bosses in Super Metroid, so if that's your metric, then I suppose that could be a problem. But
it's one of the things that stands out, at least.
I never really cared for the bosses in Symphony of the Night.
What?
There's some great boss
bad,
encounters in that game.
Yeah, there's the giant ball of corpses.
Yeah,
that falls apart. Yeah, there's the Beelzebub fight is pretty awesome.
Yep.
Which one's that one?
Oh, it's the giant rotting corpse.
Giant zombie guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of some. I mean, I like the very first boss fight against the pterodactyl and the I forget what their names are. They have names.
Gambon.
Oh, Sabora.
Yeah.
So you
Skilla is pretty cool.
You fall in the Symphony of the Night fence, then.
I'm definitely.
The thing for me is that I'm much more interested in the world design, and that's so much stronger in Super Metroid. Like the way all the areas connect together and all the different secret passages and things. It's much more thought out. And Symphony of the Night has this whole like empty second castle where nothing happens and there's no music.
I would say
there's no music. What are you talking about?
There's like 3 tracks for the entire inverted castle, and they suck. Like all the great music is in the first half of that game.
I agree with that, but I feel like you're underselling the strength of the design in the areas in Symphony of the Night, even though they don't necessarily, like, the puzzle doesn't fit together quite as neatly as it does in.
Aesthetically speaking, it's quite amazing. It is a really great looking.
Coliseum is great, and the tower is amazing looking, and the underground area, the catacombs and the abandoned mine is like terrified the shit out of me.
I feel like Super Metroid. I like the tone better. I like the sort of like you're dropped
super
on the
serious
planet.
Sci-fi.
And even like but everything works together. Like the music fits that no matter where you are, and like even the sound effects to me sound a little muffled, like you're hearing them through a spacesuit.
And as opposed to the SNES sound chip.
Yeah, right. I'm sure, but like it's always had that feeling to me. Like it's like everything is one tight package to like fit that. Whereas like Symphony of the Night, like you have all these rad places, but like none of them.
Then you get to the Coliseum,
except for the fact that you're in a magic.
Playing.
Yeah, and except for the fact that you're like in a magic castle, like half these places like don't really fit together, other than like they're glued together on a map.
Which is kind of the MO of Castlevania. Like
exactly.
Crazy shifting castle, but
I'm saying that's why I give Super Metroid the nod for me.
I like the way Symphony of the Night plays better, though. I like the melee combat over the sort of stiff aiming mechanics in Metroid.
It is nice and punchy. The fast sword swipe is such a great feeling after all those previous Castlevania games with the really slow whips.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but I like being able to like mix it up and change weapons. Like, I like the way that big swords feel like big swords, and the animation takes a lot longer. Small swords feel more like a small quick weapon, and I like the variety, the slight variations on that sort of gameplay mechanic.
And hey, it's got boots that make you 1 pixel taller.
That's true, it does.
Amazing.
There's a lot of weird items. And
yeah, the weird, bizarre shit is awesome. Yeah.
I mean,
they're both great.
It's splitting hairs. They're both great games.
I enjoy playing them both, but I think that I like Super Metroid more, and that when I play Super Metroid, I'm getting a more condensed, strong experience. It's like
I love the bad translation in Symphony of the Night so much.
Oh, the voice acting is good.
Yeah, it's so great.
Or good, bad, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
What do
I don't.
Here.
And I mean, like you could just play through the first castle in Symphony of the Night in one go, and it's not that much longer than Super Metroid. You don't necessarily have to run through the whole castle again. But the first time, if you don't know that going in and they flip the castle on you, it's fucking crazy. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I was like 15 years too late to be surprised by that.
I was only a few years too late, but I also already knew it was coming. It was too bad.
That is too bad because I played that game when it came out, and when it was like you get the bad ending, and you're like,
right,
what the fuck?
Like that kind of sucked.
Yeah, and then you're like, then you like figure it out or you read it or whatever, however you find out, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, I was like, what? The drawback to that is I don't, and this is the perspective of someone who knew about it already. Like, I don't know how you would figure out how to get to the inverted castle without knowing.
Yeah, there's some obscure clues.
There's some clues, yeah. And then if you find, also if you like find the glasses, and it says like the description of the glasses is something about like lets you see the truth or something. I don't remember.
Yeah, right.
And so like once you
let's be honest, Symphony of the Night is awesome because it has the Castlevania 3 companions show up and you have to kill them, but Mike hates Castlevania 3, so that's probably the main.
Because it's garbage.
It's garbage.
Because Mike is an idiot.
Them, so.
Well, they're fake. It's fake Grant and fake Sypha and whatever, but...
Here's the thing, is that Castlevania 3 hates all of us. I'm the only one who hates it back.
I don't think it's that bad. I think the final level and the final boss
level
of the original Castlevania is more difficult than Castlevania 3.
I think all those games are fucking hard.
Yeah, well...
we can't... down!
Uh-oh.
It's okay, man. We can bring him back. We can rebuild him. We have the technology.
Alright. Yeah, he's definitely the only robot in this game.
Dude, spoilers.
I don't even know. Which robot are you fighting?
If you'd hit him just a little faster. No, he was playing that Chrono Trigger with the robot.
Setting Dre up for the next episode.
Right. And in fact, at this point, thank you, Snoop. The king awaits. So I'm gonna open these chests, and then we are gonna just chill to the next episode.
Yeah, you are.
Just chill to the next episode. Also,
short.
I think that the one thing I will concede is that Metroid has a better soundtrack. I think the Castlevania.
Castlevania. Actually, I would probably say Castlevania has the better soundtrack.
I would say me too, but. When you're in the moment playing it, I think Metroid's fits better.
Castlevania has a better soundtrack to listen to outside of playing it.
If I'm going to listen to a Castlevania soundtrack, I'd rather just listen to Opeth. I think Opeth does that better and it is more fun to listen to.
But are you talking about like the orchestral metal stuff, or?
Yeah. Opeth is like a progressive death.
We must create a criminal justice system in this kingdom to do away with such fiends.
You think that might have some kind of an effect on the future?
Maybe.
Very doubtful.
I promise, if anybody makes it to the end of this, we'll end up talking more about the game in the next episode and commenting on what's actually happening. It's just Joe and I literally have done up to this point in the game twice, and good on Joe. Like it took him almost 30 minutes less this time to do it than he did the first time.
He's a pro.
Yeah, he's a pro at the first hour of the game now. 90 minutes.
You're gonna love going to bed to get all the other endings, Joe. Just like this, we gotta do the whole game 8 times.
There you go.
I've gotten all 8 of the endings. most of them aren't worth getting. Maybe we can watch the alternate endings on YouTube after Joe finishes.
Actually, you can get all the alternate endings by basically doing one additional play of the game and just finishing it at a bunch of different moments.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, well, so now you leave the castle so I can save. And again, we are going to just chill to the next episode. So thanks, everybody, for watching.
Yakra has fallen.
Yeah, Yakra is
Him and his
dead.
needles.
And so Eric and I will be back next time.
And we'll stop yakraing about this.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Eric and I will be back next time. I don't know about these two other chuckleheads, but we'll be back next time when we find out where to go from here and what happened with Peppa. I assume that her existence was restored, but, you know, who knows?
She's back in the family photographs, man.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, also, you should...
Your hand's not invisible anymore.
You should make some backup saves.
I'm going to make some backup saves, yes.
Okay.
We have 2 saves going right now. So there we go. And thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you next time. And check out onthestick.com for all the other cool stuff that we do. I forgot to say that at the end of the last episode. Check out onthestick.com, a bunch of podcasts, other videos, stuff like that. Check it out. We'll talk to you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Anthony.
Hey, no problem.
I try.
I'm glad you guys were here, because I fucking...